For years there was only a single dragon in the world. Now, there are way too many of them.
Dragons were long thought extinct. Opportunists hunted them for treasure, adventurers hunted them for glory, knights hunted them to protect their kingdoms. At the turn of the modern age, where swords were traded in for rifles, soothsayers were less trusted than computers, and sorcery was illegalized in most civilized states, dragons were thought to have been gone around the same time as leprechauns. As formidable as the beasts were, they were no match for the ambitions of ancient man. Decades ago, a dragon was discovered alive. The scarlet-scaled beast was the size of a 747, and it exhaled smoke and flames as it snored. A spelunker discovered its cave. The cave diver was familiar enough with ancient tales to know not to wake the beast or disturb its treasure. He simply exited carefully and alerted the proper authorities. The discovery sent the world into a frenzy. Scientists believed that this dragon slumber had started a millennium ago, when dragons would have been considered endangered by today's standards. Some wanted to end the species right there. Others wanted to send armies to guard the cave. One group of conservationists had another plan. The Children of the Forest, an NGO mostly descended from the Druids of old, rallied to declare the cave a protected site. Humans, dwarvers, elves, and all sentient species would be kept away and the last dragon would be left to sleep in peace. Their cries of support convinced a world that had long forgotten the carnage dragon attacks often brought. Even the most fearful were put at ease when governments agreed to store any shiny currency away from population centers. As the year passed, fear dwindled and the dragon became a niche interest. Merchandise was made. The dragon had plushies, t-shirts, fan art, figurines, and even theme parks made in its likeness. Streamers would try to get as close as they could to the cave before chickening out or getting caught by the authorities. Scientists were allowed to set up a camera in the cave that constantly monitored the dragon's slumber. Every toss of turn made headlines and the constant stream would hardly ever fall below 1 million views. Many even hoped for the dragon's awakening and bet money on the year. It was clear that there was money to be made in the dragon market. A crafty opportunist, a young orc named Cromp, noticed a detached scale when watching the stream. It had been there for ages, long before the stream had started. The dragon had tossed and turned enough over its sleep that the scale was far enough to be collected without disturbing it. He knew if he could get his hands on it, he could somehow turn it into enough money to move his family out of the Orklands. So Cromp saved his coins and hired an illegal sorcerer to get him into the cave unnoticed. It was simple enough, a teleportation and invisibility spell did the trick. The scale was gone and the heist went flawlessly. Headlines were made, but that worked to the orcs' advantage. The scale was wanted by collectors, ancient healers, weapons manufacturers, researchers, and even national governments. Dragon scales had a variety of ancient uses, but the supply ran out soon after dragons had disappeared. Cromp did not try to sell to any government, he believed they would have tried to arrest him for illegal magic and confiscate the scale without paying him. Their bounties were far below the prize offered from For Life. This research company, the for-profit arm of Children of the Forest, was offering the GDP of a moderately sized country for the scale. Cromp delivered it to them, and lived a happily ever after on a small private island. For Life, however, found a way to further genetic research, fund their conservation efforts, and, in spite of the hesitations of their ancestors, bring back dragons once and for all. They used the DNA from the scale to clone dragon eggs and sold them to collectors. For Life shot to the top of the stock ticker. Many people were hesitant about the legality, but at the price point they were sold For Life's targeted collectors basically made the laws of their countries. This was a fun novelty, but fast forward a few years and the dragons hatched. Fast forward a decade and the dragons grew large enough to eat their masters. A few more decades, and dragon shelters were as common as bomb shelters and dragon attacks were as common as devastating earthquakes. The dragon population was saved. All attempts at domestication failed, and the dragon in the cave continued to sleep on his pile of treasure.